What is up, Light Fam? Welcome to another video. My name is David, your spiritual awakening coach, here to help you through your spiritual awakening. Now, a question that I'm often asked is how to cure spiritual stagnation. So a lot of people are feeling stuck on their spiritual journey and in life in general a lot of times. So today we're going to look at how you guys can unstuck yourself by diving deep into the root cause of spiritual stagnation, which will allow you to get that momentum back on your spiritual journey. Let's get into all of the good stuff right now. Let's go. What is spiritual stagnation? Well, it's just what it sounds like. You feel stuck in your spiritual growth. And since spirit or source consciousness is everything, this usually means that you also feel stuck in the rest of your life as well. And you may not have considered that there really is no separation between the two, but that's a different video. But what is keeping you stuck? Well, my guess is it's your story. Anytime we're stuck in life, there's a story behind why we are stuck. And that story is always aligned with fear. So if you're feeling spiritual stagnation, you have to stop and ask yourself, what is my story as to why I'm stuck? If you're codependent, maybe your story is, I am not worthy unless somebody else needs me. Or if you're in a toxic relationship, maybe your story is, I can't leave this person because no one else will want me and I'm not strong enough to be on my own. Or if you're in twin flame separation, maybe your story is, I can't detach from my twin flame because I'll never find true love again and I'll never be happy with anyone else. Or if you're stuck in a financial challenge, maybe your story is, I'm not good enough for that promotion at work, or I'm not good enough to start my own business that's my actual passion and be paid for it. And as you believe your story, the universe says, and so it is. So how to cure spiritual stagnation? Well, as I just mentioned, you have to change your story. Fear has you tethered somewhere, Light Fam. But change your story is a very logical answer, which means it's in here, in your mind, which is also where the ego resides. But it's your subconscious beliefs, which a lot of spiritual teachers say lies in your heart chakra, that connects to the quantum field and dictates the reality that you experience. So we've got to face those fears. We have to dig deep to get to the root of those fears. And where do the roots most likely lie? Yeah, in your shadow. That's where it is. Yes, shadow work, everyone's favorite. But that's how you bridge the gap between the mind and the heart. We've got to get to the root limiting belief that is the anchor point of your story. What is the fear behind that limiting belief? Is that fear even true? You know, a lot of times we don't even question whether a fear is true or not because we're just so familiar with it. Well, if you're fearing not being worthy or not being good enough, stop and ask yourself, am I actually undeserving? Or is it most likely a childhood event or a parent that treated you in a way that kind of programmed you to believe that you're unworthy? Well, I'm here to tell you that your spiritual DNA is that of source. It's literally impossible for you to not be worthy or not be good enough. How to cure spiritual stagnation? Are you brave enough to face the fears that are rooted in your shadow? Don't hold on to a story like, I'm not strong enough to face these repressed emotions or traumatic memories. The pain is too great. That's just a story that is rooted in fear. Have you ever stopped to consider the fact that you chose what your shadow would be before you decided to incarnate? Because the shadow is the catalyst to bring your greatest version from the potentiality of your shadow, the subconscious, into living and identifying as the greatest version on a conscious level. And what if your shadow holds the lesson that you decided upon before incarnation that you wanted to learn or get a deeper understanding of by experiencing its physical contrast? Doesn't it make sense that you get a much deeper understanding of what love is by living through and palpably experiencing what love is not? You created the shadow for the purpose of healing it, to bring you back into vibrational alignment with your true identity as source consciousness having a physical experience. Spiritual stagnation is all about getting unstuck from the ego's agenda. You see, the ego wants to keep you in what is familiar. Familiar equals what is known. What is known is safe to the ego. The unknown is very scary to the ego. And since the ego is tasked with survival, it's the ego's job to keep you away from the unknown because it might be unsafe. You know, the ego is kind of like an advisor that doesn't really have all the facts nor can see the bigger picture. To get unstuck, you've got to pull up those thoughts that are rooted in fear. And it's those thoughts, challenges, obstacles, triggers that showed up to give you an opportunity to face your fears and get out of vibrational alignment with fear. Fear is the opposite of love. The dominant frequency of source consciousness is love. So obviously, when you are transmuting what you fear into love, you're coming into greater vibrational resonance with source consciousness. How to cure spiritual stagnation? Well, you've got to take a deep breath and become mindful, like fam. Mindfulness is an amazing practice because it gets your mind out of the fear of the future or the regrets of the past. When you're practicing mindfulness, you are in a state of allowing, which is a state of receptivity. But to receive what exactly? Well, for starters, how about guidance, insight, and encouragement from your spirit guides, like fam? You guys have an entire team in the unseen all around you that are wanting to help, but your mind has to be present so that you can sense that gentle, subtle nudge or that subtle aha moment, or you have to be present enough to see the signs that actually answer a question that you may have posed to the universe. Only the now moment exists, and the next now moment that you experience is completely dependent upon the frequency that you are emitting. If you're emitting a frequency of anxiety, then you will match with a potential parallel reality that is a match to anxiety, which further makes that feeling of spiritual stagnation dig its heels in, because now you're kind of stymied in fear of the future. So ask yourself, what is your story? What is the fear behind that story? And do the shadow work to get to the origins of that fear so that you can heal it, uproot it, and replace it with an empowering belief. And get your mind centered in the present now moment so that your mind is still enough to receive the insight and guidance that you need to cure spiritual stagnation. Now, question of the day. How do you cure spiritual stagnation? Leave those suggestions and comments below, like fam, so that we can all learn from one another. And if you need a helping hand curing spiritual stagnation on your spiritual journey so that you can get some momentum again, as well as someone to hold your hand through shadow work, we can work one-on-one through Zoom. Check the description below for that. If you have a question for me, add me over on Instagram _Lightways. Until then, I will see all of you guys in the next video. Light, love, and abundance to all that are watching, and to all you love. Peace, guys.